Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. I'm holding Santa here because it's close to the holiday season. Isn't he cute? He's cute. We're gonna put him back. So I have filmed a video that was supposed to go after today's video, but I had to do this backwards. So today's video is going to go second instead, and it is something that I've had in my mailbox for a while. I've had about 4 or 5 people ask me the same question. So instead of answering one at a time to each person, I thought I'd make it a video. Don't worry, no names. And this is about how the holidays are in prison and expectations with relationships and things like that. So I hope that you click that subscribe button. And then that way you're notified every time I post a new video. And also don't forget to thumbs up, because that is how YouTube knows you like the channel and it helps me out for free. So let's talk about holidays.
I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.
All right, we're gonna get serious for a bit. I brought a notepad. You know, if the notepad's here, it's a serious thing. No, it's just I didn't want to forget things, and I wanted to write it out actually as it was. So the question I have, and like I said, I've had several of you very loyal, lovely subscribers. Thank you so much, by the way. Several of you asked that question in different formats, but I'm gonna try to summarize it. So the question was, my boyfriend is in prison. I was invited to a work party. He said it's not right that I have fun while he's rotting away in there. Should I skip the celebrations? So as you can see, I am somewhat dressed up to go to a Christmas holiday party. My daughter thinks this is not a Christmas outfit because it's not red and green, but I think I look like an ornament with red nails. Anyway, not related to this, by the way. So I wanted to give you my point of view, and not many people like my point of view because I'm an acquired taste. I am not shy about my opinions, but I'm gonna try to give you my point of view and why I think that way. But I'm not just gonna do that. I'm gonna give you an opinion of my loved one. He's gonna tell you what the guys inside think. So you get to know both views, I guess, because sometimes seeing his or her point of view, your loved one's point of view, might help you understand that. So like I said, I actually wrote this out, and we've talked about it on the phone at length. So you're gonna hear this. I was gonna say right from the horse's mouth. I don't know if I want to describe him as a horse. Anyway. So like I said, I don't want to answer that person individually because I have several questions like that. So let's discuss that. So my thoughts and my guy's thoughts coming up. So first of all, let me start by being a little bit of an acquired taste and satirical person, because I am that person. I'm the person that will find a humor in everything and a little bit of sarcasm in everything. Okay, so I'll be upfront on that one. The holidays are tough in prison. There's no way of saying it any other way. They're tough. So the way my guy explains it, that you have guards that would rather be home with their families. Understandably, wouldn't we all be home with our families rather than not? However, for those of you wondering, yes, they are paid, of course, to be there. They're usually paid double time or time and a half, whatever that may be. They're paid more than the average day, but they still don't want to be there. And a lot of the times they take that out on the inmates. They will actually say that right to them, like, it's your fault I'm working. Or they'll find specific ways to kind of target them, pick at them. You know, I don't want to say the word bullying because that makes me think of junior high school for me. But yeah, they're actually bullying a lot of the inmates in there because they are frustrated that they're stuck with them. I'm sorry, and my mind is, if you don't like it, don't do the job, but or get a different job. But it is what it is. I'm not here to talk about somebody's job. So from what I heard from the guys, they say that even the guards you normally get along with, that you're on pretty decent terms with them, around this time, around December through, and just holidays in general, they become really, really big bullies. I mean, I'm using that word again, but that's the best way I can think of that. You just want to avoid them because you know they use anything they can to target you. They'll use any way that they can to write you up. I mean, going to the hole is this easy. It's just anything. It could be the way you're standing, could be what you're wearing, even though you're supposed to be wearing that. It could be just the way you styled your hair. Anything gets picked on, and it's very easy to get written up. It's very easy to lose your privileges. It's very easy to be in solitary confinement at this time of year, which would suck even more. For those of you who have a loved one in solitary, I'm very, very sorry. I know what it's like. That is even harder. So a lot of the inmates, prisoners, they tend to try to avoid the guards. They tend to stay away from that as much as they can. They may stay in their cells to be on the safe side, just to kind of not get in anybody's way. So that makes them feel alone and isolated, understandably. Also, a lot of people find this time is very big on reflection. And many of the guys that I've talked to that are inside prison say that a lot of the times they feel a lot of remorse, guilt about so many things. I mean, they are, number one, guilty that you are out here and they're not. If you were together before they went to prison, well, then you're doing all the stuff without them. You are sad because they're in there, because they put themselves in there. If you need things done with the kids, again, they're not part of that, and you have to take over for them. So they feel a lot of guilt over leaving you behind. They may feel a lot of guilt because they can't get to the phones or the tablets as much as they would like to, and they know you want to hear from them, but at the same time, they can't give you as much contact as they want to because they're limited by that. And if you've met them while they were incarcerated, then again, they feel that guilt that they know you want to see them. You know you want to celebrate with them, but no, they're stuck in there. You can't see them. So yeah, there's a lot of guilt going on. The biggest guilt, though, biggest guilt is why they're in there. Many of them will go in details over whatever crime they have committed over and over and over, because that is why they're in there. I'm not making excuses for anybody, wrongfully incarcerated or rightfully incarcerated. They're incarcerated. They're in there. And so they feel that guilt over why I've been put in that place. And so they will have those ruminating thoughts going through their head all the time. So there's a lot of guilt and remorse and sadness going around this time. So speaking of the sadness, I did do a video on how to brighten somebody's holiday, so you can watch that one. That was done before this one because I done them backwards due to time constraints. Welcome to Prisonwife life. Anyway, again, side topic, I go off on a tangent. So having said all that, going back to the question, because that's where we started. Like I said, my opinion is going to be harsh, but to the person or several people that wrote this, let me start by saying he is not rotting away. I'm sorry how mean that sounds, but literally he is not rotting away, and I'm going to pick at that word because I need to. It is bad in there. No doubt, we've said that, we agree on that. Prison conditions are horrific. But unless he has leprosy, flesh-eating disease, or anything like that, he is not literally rotting away. So let's just put that word away, okay? And I know if you're like me, you'll pick on that word. If mine ever said that word, I would use that word. No, he'd never say it, but yeah, I'm that person. I'm the sarcastic person, and I would use that word. So feel free to quote me on this and tell him you are not rotting away. You're miserable. You're unhappy. It's really bad, I'm sorry, but you're not riding away. Okay? So I'm going to pick on that word. I'm going to leave that alone now. That's just my own thinking. So the second part is him asking you to be miserable because he is. To me, that says he's selfish and controlling. Okay? He's telling you that you can't celebrate, you can't go out because he's not. Well, you didn't put him in prison unless you did. I mean, that's a whole different story. But he put himself in prison. He is in there. You're not. Why should you put yourself in prison because he is? I feel like as prison wives, we are doing time with them. We are. But we're doing it differently. We're doing it on the outside. We are doing that time with them in a different way. But it doesn't mean that you can't enjoy activities. You can't have hobbies. You can't have friends. You can't go out for a Christmas or New Year's or whatever it may be. Why not? Why can't you enjoy your life? For him to ask you not to is very selfish. And again, very controlling. That is my opinion. I'm going to stick with that. And I don't mean to offend anybody, but that's just my opinion. So I always like to look at different angles of things. So one exception I can see to that, let's say he's saying that because he loves you, he cares about you, and he's worried about you. So if you're going out somewhere that is maybe a shady part of the city, maybe it's not a safe kind of thing for different reasons, maybe he's worried about you. He's not saying it to control you, he's worried. So if you tell him, you know what, I'm going with my mom, I'm going with a friend, I'm going with the kids, or I have an Uber, I have this person giving me a ride, that makes sense. And it'll make him feel better. Your conversation about this topic is done, I promise you. That is the only reason I can see that being that topic. Okay, so if it is not a safety concern, then like I said, I think he's controlling and he's manipulating your emotions. So maybe he's worried you'll find somebody else, because it happens. It has happened to many. But if you have trust, then you have a relationship. And if you question things like that, then you don't have trust, you don't have a foundation, and your relationship isn't going to go well. It's not going to end well. Well, actually, it will probably end. Any man that loves you would not want you to put yourself in prison. He doesn't want you in there with him. He wants you to go out. He wants you to live your life. He wants you to enjoy things. He's happy when you're happy. That is a man who loves you. And I'm saying man because I'm thinking my loved one's a man. So you can translate it to whether your person is a he or she or they. I'm thinking of mine, and I know that he would love if I'm having a good time. Because he knows, okay, I'm going to be happy. That will translate to me on the phone, being happy. So he would want you to have a good time. He would want you to take photos. You go out there, take lots of photos for him. So he knows that you were thinking of him anyway. He was on your mind. You thought of him. You took photos of the event or of some beautiful decorations out there. He'll feel like he was a part of it. And maybe when you come home, you take some of those, let's say, more sexy photos for him only. Up to you on that one. It's just an idea that I thought of. Anyway, that to me is a healthy relationship. For him to want you to be happy, for you to make him a part of your life the best way that you can, that's the definition of a healthy relationship that you can do within the confines of that distance and, as I call it, gated community. You can make the best out of it, or you can let him control you. And I hope you don't let anybody control you. Okay, so now I'm going to get my man's opinion because he likes to talk. He likes to weigh in on everything. Everything. Anyway, so let's get his perspective. How do you feel around the time when the holidays are coming up?
For us in here, it's difficult. Any holiday, birthdays, anything like that is difficult for us because it always invokes, emotions and feelings of, being here and being away from the ones you love or whatever it may be. So a lot of times in here, we just try to not pay attention to it much. You know what I mean? We just let the days blend into each other so that you're not focusing on them things. But when you do focus on them, like I guess you would say, like, take heed to them, and you're trying to make sure that, you tell people happy birthdays or, Merry Christmases or happy, Halloween or whatever it may be. The thing that families need to remember when it comes to that, and people in here, is don't barrage them with it, but send them something to acknowledge it. It's more probably for us, like just getting a card that just says happy holidays, we miss you, we love you, we can't wait to see you or talk to you again, or whatever it may be on that type of level, is something that changes us, because you feel that love.
So if I said I'm going to a party, I'm going to a Christmas party, I'm going to a Thanksgiving party, what would your answer be?
Okay, the biggest problem most people have when they deal with people like us inside of prison, right? And they're dealing with loved ones from the streets, is a lot of times guys want to make the woman do the time like we are. They don't want her to do this, they don't want her to do that, because they're afraid that she's going to meet somebody. And what I always tell them guys is that, yeah, you're only afraid of that because you was a dirtbag and you were doing the things that you was doing behind her back, so you just feel like she's going to take it back. That's the only reason why you're doing that. That's your own guilty conscience. Because if you treated your woman right and you treated her with respect, and she knows you respect you, and you respect her, and that you love her, and it's unconditional and all that, no matter where she goes, she's going to conduct herself in a sense of respect for you and herself. Any guy that's going to say, you know what, no, you have to not celebrate the holidays because I'm in prison, he's being selfish and insecure. Yeah. All right, so now you've heard my opinion, you've heard his opinion. I hope that answers all the questions that were sitting in my mailbox. Like I said, I didn't answer them earlier because I thought this is a perfect time to address it. And, well, as it happens to be, I'm going to an event. So it's a perfect day to kind of address the same question for all of you guys that are asking it at the same time. So I'm not answering it one by one. And you got my opinion. You got an opinion of somebody who is currently in prison. And I hope that you listen to it, and whatever you take from it is up to you. But that's just my opinion. Like I said, I tend to be a sarcastic, sometimes harsh person, but that's just who I am, and I always ask a lot of questions. So, like I said, holidays are hard, right? You might be tempted to just say, screw it. I don't want to get out. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I want to crawl into bed, put covers over my head, and stay there. So please don't do it. As much as it's hard, accept one invitation, maybe two. Get dressed. Go to that one event. Stay for 15 minutes. Stay for an hour. Like, give yourself permission or a push to stay for an hour. You might actually find that you're enjoying it and you stay longer. And if you're not enjoying it, well, you stayed for an hour and then you go home. But get out there. Don't stay home with covers over your head, because trust me, you're going to be miserable, even more than he is, believe it or not. So when you go out there, take some photos. Tell him about it. You can both talk about this. You both will be going through a hard time, because it is. But you can either make the best out of it, or you can both have a harder time than it already is. And this is a very tough journey. So sometimes you got to find a little bit of smile in it, a little bit of brightness, a little bit of cheer. So don't deprive yourself of happiness, because if you stay in that prison with him, eventually you're going to regret it, and you're going to resent it, and you're going to resent each other. So what happens is he comes home and you're going to tell him, guess what? I did nothing. I stayed home because of you. And he's going to tell you, I didn't ask you to. Because even if he's saying it, he's not expecting you to. Not if he truly loves you, he wouldn't want you to. So he's going to resent you for throwing it at him over and over and over, because you're going to throw it at him. You're going to say, I stayed home for you.
and he's going to resent you for doing it, for saying it, for throwing it at him, and it's going to be a tough situation. And maybe you'll resent him, whether it's when he comes home or whether it is now. You're staying here, you're not enjoying yourself because of him. That resentment builds up and builds up and builds up, and eventually you'll resent not just the whole situation, but him as well for putting you in it. So that relationship is going to be difficult as it is. It is very difficult during the holidays. So again, don't let resentment, control, manipulations be part of it. Have some cheerful, great memories, some smiles, some cute photos. Brighten the days instead, as much as you can. So this is all I have. I hope that for those of you asking that question, you got the answers, the best ones I have. These are my thoughts, my opinions. You don't have to agree with them, but you asked my opinion, you got one, and you got his as well. Like I said, he always has opinions. And if you have any more questions and you would like an opinion from somebody who's on the inside, let me know. I'll be happy to ask, because I know it'll be hours of answers. Trust me, my phone bill reflects that. So since I'm going out to an event, I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a very, very happy holiday, and a wonderful rest of 2022, and an amazing, best 2023 ever. I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to subscribe and thumbs up. Bye.